Stanley the dog with the $5. Sorry for the link, but I couldn't possibly shorten my message to 160 characters. Oh God. Hey, listen. Serious question. How do I be less stupid? Step number 1, realize there's a reason why there's a character limit. That's step number. How do I increase my IQ? Why was a character limit implemented on a website I have complete control over? That's step 1. You absolutely could have truncated this. Albeit in thought, in my personal life, not in action or politics. Oh yeah, you could have fit this in 160 characters. Oh yeah, you could have. I'm not going easy on you. I was never conservative, but I feel that leftist/humanist tendencies that used to be intuitive to me, like critical thinking skills, compassion, emotional openness, etc., complete the mental profile in your head, have sort of eroded. And I'm left feeling like I'm too susceptible to reactionary thought patterns, deterministic, essentialist thinking, fear, insecurity, etc. I feel like it's impossible to change since it's how I feel, not some specific course of action or something like that. To be clear, none of this translates to negative action, at least politically/socially. Send an email. No, don't send me an email about your personal emotions either. I get enough of that. It simply makes me feel like a shit person, stupid, like I need to be told the correct way to think by people like you who feel better than me. I kind of struggle to keep up shortish, but here, sorry for the lefty name. Okay, here's the thing, all right? You can't control the way you feel, but you can control the way you respond to those feelings. Except, whoa, retard, you actually can control the way you feel. Your environment, your experiences shape the reflexive impulses that your brain sends you whenever you experience something. If you are starting to experience more like deterministic or essentialist thinking, fear, insecurity, you have to trace these down to why. This is the kind of shit that therapy is for. Where are you getting these feelings from? Like, where are they coming from? You know? First of all, if it's not translating into like different policy positions or different sets of behaviors, that probably means that you're still capable of cognitively checking any like weird biases you have, you know? Which makes me wonder, like, if the issue isn't your cognition, if you're capable of rationalizing out the correct answers, what is leading you to have intuitively wrong ones, you know? Keep in mind that to an extent, having intuitively reactionary thoughts isn't necessarily a bad thing because it's just kind of a part of our thought process. Reactionary thoughts like nativism, tribalism, fear, reflexive xenophobia, things like this are like lizard brain impulses that it just can take some time to rationalize through. So, for example, no matter how much people in chat might not want to personally acknowledge it, if they've lived or grew up in a big city, they have had some pretty fucking bad thoughts about homeless people at some point. Yes, they have. They can pretend that they haven't at some point if they want, but they'd be wrong to. Everything about our society is structured to reinforce what is already a borderline intuitive response to be disgusted by and fearful of the homeless. To think of them as less than human. Now, that's not rationally true. And when you're old enough to recognize those biases, you can be like, you know? But that takes self-control. And the fact of the matter is, my dude, self-control is the name of the game. You are never going to be able to intuit the progressive answers all the time. It's always a game of trying to work with the feelings that you feel intuitively and then process them in a way that gets you the right answers. You're never going to reach some kind of nirvana state where all of the stuff in your life just brings about the naturally correct impulses. It's always work. Being right is always work. It's always a process. What's more, it can be an ongoing thing without any resolution. I grew up in Los Angeles, man. I am always going to be distrustful around homeless people. Now, I can rationalize that thought away and have pleasant, reasonable interactions with them. I've befriended homeless people. I've invited homeless people to my house. I've made meals with them, you know? But the intuitive response, at least to some extent, in my mind, is probably always going to be a little bit, like, reactionary. But I don't think that's necessarily bad because that's not the end point, right? Like, that's just the beginning. The end point is what you do, what your decisions are. And as long as there's a strong, cognitive processing system, something that'll get you to the right answer between then and there, it'll be okay. So don't think of it as like you feeling like a shit person and stupid, like you need to be told the correct way to think by people like me. Have more faith in your own cognitive processes, you know? Really think about it. Intuitively, we're going to arrive at a lot of bad feelings, but we can work through that. It's about not stopping at step one. If it was as easy as people could just intuit the correct answers, then critical thinking wouldn't be so much of a problem. You know, I still hate you for the paste bin, but it was a fair question, and I love you. Good luck, okay? Believe in yourself. I don't want to like be specific because I don't want to like be mean to anyone who might be watching and like recognize that I'm referring to them. But I have I have been the victim of some truly heinous disregard for my spare time over email. Like, I remember specifically a guy was like, "Hey, take a look at this document that I wrote on fuck, he's going to know I'm referring to him, but like he should be able to take this criticism. Get a load of this document that I wrote. Could I get feedback on it? It's on like campaign practice." And like when people ask me for feedback on anything over email, there's a 99% chance I'm going to say no, or I'm going to lie and say like, "Oh, I'll get to it eventually." Because it is a business email. I know nobody takes it seriously when I say that, but it's a business email. Uh for business, you know, I get a lot of stuff in there. Like a lot. Um like way too much. And it was a 57 page long Google document. I try not to take it personally when you denigrate hippies because I aspire to be one. Got my autism diagnosed. I appreciate opinions that conflict with mine. Lori Goth, please keep in mind, I denigrate a lot of people. I've said the same stuff about people who watch anime, despite watching anime. People who take horoscopes or do tarot cards. I've said this about I've said this about people who, like, I swear to God, like almost any cultural thing. Like I've probably, don't take it too personally. I have issues with the broader hippie movement, and I find a lot of hippies personally insufferable, but I find lots of people personally insufferable. You need to understand, guys, in real life, I am incredibly asocial, okay? Not because I'm not good at talking to people in person. I think I am. I can hold a crowd, but because I don't like people that much. You know? This is going to be a real shocker to you guys. But the anime-loving, video game-playing live streamer who wears anime graphic tees to every single stream does not actually care that much for direct interpersonal interactions. The truth is, no matter how much of a bother you fuckers might be, I still love you, both collectively and individually. And even in person, it's always worth it to put the effort in, because even if 9 in 10 people are going to be frustrating to deal with, the 1 in 10 who could be a good friend, worth fighting for, you know?